Was contemplating my message this morning, I've been told that the sermon should reflect the need of your congregation. Am I preaching and teaching something that you who are here don't need? And I said to myself, other than Richard and myself and Serena, the rest of you just plain old. I'm not old. I'm 67. That's not old. And I said, so then because we are the senior citizens, then does that mean that we have arrived? I mean, do you come to church saying, Brother Charles, I want to inform you that there's not much left that I don't know, and I am right at 100% in my Christian life, and as a matter of fact, I'm still maintaining the same level of love for the Lord that I did when I first got saved. So really, I don't really need a whole lot. Now, you would think that when you would get our age, that we would be at our height of our enjoyment of the Lord Jesus Christ. You would think that at our age that perhaps we could all come to church and sit in a rocking chair and just rock and enjoy the life that we have, and we're going to coast the rest of our life. I haven't a clue why Dorothy keeps coming at 91 years old.
93.
How old are you?
93. I'll be 94 in February.
I didn't want to stretch it. 94 sounds old. It's amazing to me, in the 6 years I've been here, Dorothy probably has missed less than any of you have. She can get a ride, she comes. And she doesn't want to sit in a rocking chair. She doesn't, it appears to me that she hasn't said, Charles, for the last 60 years or 70 years, 80 years, for crying out loud, I've heard the word, I've done my part, now it's time to sit in a rocking chair. God is finished with me. Now, if you believe that God is finished with you, you can sit in a rocking chair. I understand that. If you believe that God is finished with you, by the way, when God is finished with you, you're going to be dead.
Amen.
You'll know when God is finished with you when you die. But up until the day I die, folks, I'm going to keep moving. And I'm going to keep learning. And I'm going to keep studying. And I'm going to enjoy my salvation. You would have thought that after 5,000 sermons that I preached, that I would have received all the information that I need to be all that I need to be. But may I confess to you that after 230 sermons in the book of Romans, I'm still learning. I learned this week more than I've learned in a long time. You never exalt the joy of the Lord. And I've come to conclusions that none of you need to be in a rocking chair spiritually. All of you need to be in a rocking chair, but physically, but spiritually, we don't need to sit down and take it easy for the rest of our lives. And so, that is a reason that I endeavor to continue to teach, because I still think there's still much that we need to encourage ourselves. When we come to Romans, we must understand the first two verses of Romans. And then the next section is Romans 12:3 through verse 8. Anybody know what that is? Rhetorical, I'll give it to you. It's called spiritual gifts. Every Christian has a spiritual gift, or gifts. And then 9 through 21 is practical Christian behavior that reflects how you have given your body to the Lord Jesus Christ in verses 1 and 2. There is a step beyond being saved. There is a step beyond being saved. And they are found briefly in short statements, verses 9 through verse 21. I did not realize how much one could get out of those brief statements. Like, not slothful in business, verse 11. Fervent in spirit, serve the Lord. Verse 12, rejoicing in hope, patience in tribulation, continue instant in prayer, distribution to the necessity of saints, given to hospitality. We're in verse 14, bless them which persecute you. Bless and curse not. If I were to write down, and so then here we go again, what does verse 14 mean? Bless them that which persecute you. Bless and curse not. Again, as an expository preacher, I want to preach a little bit this morning. But I want us to, first, we need to understand what Paul meant by blessed. We need to know what he meant by turn to Kindle, please. Kindle. To Romans 14. There we go. So we need to know, that's verse 16, let's go back over here. So then, hit the Kindle, Greg. Right? Yeah, verse 17. I don't know. Oh, verse 14. Bless. So we need then to learn what the word means to bless. Then we need to learn those who. Who are the those who? No, rhetorical. And then it means, And then the next word, we need to know what persecute means. Cute. And then we need to know what the word curse means today. What did it mean? So what we need to know is, what did bless mean when Paul said it? Who are those who we are to bless? Who are those that we need to bless? What does it mean to bless them? Then we need to know what it means. Who are those who persecute? Who are those who persecute us? And what does that mean? Right? And then we need to learn, it says, do not curse. If I was to say to you, I don't want you to curse me out. What you think what immediately came to your mind is not what this word means when Paul wrote it. Isn't that interesting? How did you know that, Charles? I read John MacArthur. How you know? How do you think I knew what it meant? How do I know that? Why do you think I went to seminary for? Come think of it, I didn't learn that in seminary. They didn't teach us that in seminary. I had to learn it otherwise. How then do I learn what these words mean? And I told you in the last hour how I did that. So what I do is I learn what the Greek word is, and then I learn the Greek meaning, and then I'm going to put it to a sermon. Sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I put it in expositional study, and sometimes in a sermon. Most preachers don't want you to know how they know what they know. Most preachers want you to know or think that it all comes from my head. Mine comes from several hundred pages of notes before me, and I'm in just chapter 14, verse 14. Paul is concerned with our practical daily living. Paul is concerned with our practical daily living, and that is in verse 9 through verse 21. Those are the simple statements that I gave you earlier in this series of lessons. 21 practical ways that a Christian is to live. This is a command. This is not a suggestion. This comes from the Lord through the Apostle Paul. These are 20-some ways that you and I, as a Christian, are to live. If we're going to express our salvation, it is going to be expressed in a practical way in these statements that Paul brings out, and he brings out in most of his epistles. Bless them which persecute you, bless and curse not. The Amplified Bible says, bless those who persecute you, who are cruel in their attitude toward you. Bless and do not curse them out. It doesn't say that.